Good morning, my dear students. Welcome you all back to our social class. And now onwards, we are going to have a discussion about how to write answer for each and every questions. So, from geography, we'll start. Geography first chapter, resources and development. So, this is what we are going to see. In this, the first question. We see the question, what is mean by resources? Mention the four bases to classify the resources. How will you write? First question you are supposed to attend first. Resources. What is resources? May I ask? Resources, everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs, provided technologically accessible, economically feasible and culturally acceptable. So these are all very important things. This is basic thing which you might have studied in the previous class. Everything which are available in the environment to satisfy the need of the people is commonly you might have learned, but it should be technologically accessible and economically feasible and culturally acceptable is the most important keyword here. And next thing if you see is the second question answer you are writing. Mention the four bases to classify the resources. So on the basis of classification of resources are being mentioned below or given below. Like that you can write and go ahead with writing. On the basis of origin, biotic and abiotic. On the basis of accessibility, renewable and non-renewable. On the basis of ownership, individual, community, nation and international. On the basis of status of development, potential, development, stock and reserve. So this is how you can write the answer. The next important thing, this will be most asked question, right? Are resources free gift of nature? No, resources are not the free gift of nature. So like that you can start. No, the resources are not the free gift of nature. Resources are the functions of the human activity. It is the source of the human activity. Human being themselves are essential components of the resources. So they are being the important components for the nature. Nature is just supporting them to live their own life. So the nature has been transforming the life of the human beings, and the transformation of material available in our environment into an resources, and that is how it can be used by the humans also. That is why the resources is not a free gift of nature. Okay, so this is the second question. You see, the next question is resources on the basis of accessibility by giving examples. So there is classification that they are asking in classification on the basis of accessibility and non-renewable resources. Right. So first thing, these are renewable resources. What are the renewable resources? Which are reproducing, which can reproduce itself. You can see physical, chemical, mechanical process. So it can reproduce itself by physically, chemically and mechanical process. Example, solar, wind energy, water energy. So all these are being considered as the renewable resources. If you see non-renewable, they exhaust, take millions of years to form. So millions of years to form is the keyword. So they are not as soon as renewable. Okay, and here renewable source may further be divided into continuous flow, like biologically it can be further divided. Continuation of flow chart like wind, water, like that you can find. In the non-renewable resources, the only example is the fossil fuel. Okay, then bioorganics are vegetables and wild animals. Some of the resources like metals recyclable, and some like fossil fuel cannot be recycled at all. These resources are available continuously. So the resources cannot be regenerated. So it is once ended means it is ended. It cannot be brought it again. So this is the another question which you can get possibly from this chapter. is the continuously repeated asked question, my dear students. Why is the issue of sustainability important for the development? Explain. So sustainable development, what you should understand, what is sustainable development first. Sustainable development means the development should take place and meet the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generation. So the development should take place and the development should not damage the future generation, and it should not compromise the future generation also. Hence, what does it says that since second half of the 20th century, number of scientists have warned that the present type of level of development are not sustainable. So whatever development that is happening in the 20th century is not related to the sustainable development. The issue of sustainable development has emerged for the rapid industries which are being developed in the world the past few centuries, and it has brought the people into the conclusion that it is felt that the economical growth of industries are been happening have led to the regardless exploitation of resources also. It has even still more exploited the resources. On the other hand, the stock resources are also getting exploited. And so what happens? The growth of our country is further likely to be endangered, and the resources are getting into limited conditions. Under this aspect, you can find the circumstances has issued the sustainable to become the most important and the foremost development for our nation. So sustainable development is an important. Okay, so this is how we are supposed to explain and write why is the issue of sustainable is important for the development. Okay, and then last question is supposed to write a note on the Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit. So in this they have asked a few things. You can have side headings. Even for geography you can use side headings. So a place where the Rio de Janeiro conference held. So it held in a place like in June 1992. More than 100 heads participated in the state met in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. So it is the first international Earth Summit. So this is important. So what is the objective of this Rio de Janeiro conference? The summit was being conveyed for addressing the urgent development of the environmental protection and the socio-economical development at the global level. So what is the objective? Submission. This summit is being addressed for the urgent problems which are being developed based on the environmental protection and the socio-economical development at the global level. And what is the achievement that is being done by this? Yes, the assembly led signed the declaration on the global climatical changes and biological diversity, and this Rio de Janeiro has conducted action that global forest principle and adapted agenda 21 for achieving the sustainable development in the local areas of their own nations also. So this is the major importance of the Rio de Janeiro conference. So if they're asking for 5 mark also, it is more than sufficient, my dear students. So this is how we are supposed to write the answer. So we'll have a quick recap. Just see, we are going to see the chapter from geography, resources and development. We are going to discuss how to write the answer. So what does mean by resources? Mention the four basics. What is the resources? Everything which are available in the environment which satisfy the needs of the human beings, and it is technologically accessible, economically feasible and culturally acceptable. Only then it is called as a resources. Four bases of classification of resources: on the basis of origin, or it is biotic, abiotic on the basis of accessibility, renewable and non-renewable on the basis of ownership, individual, community, nation and international, on the basis of status of development, potential development, stock and reserve. So this is how it has been classified. And second question, are the resources gift of nature? No, it is not the gift of nature at all. Human beings utilize the resources for facility. Human beings themselves bring the essential components of the resources. They transform the natural resources and modify it for their own basic needs and to improve their condition they are doing. So the transformation of material is been happening by them. So the environment, so the transformation material which are available in the environment is the source of the resources. So it has been for the meant for the utilization of the human being, but it is not the gift of nature, that too free gift of nature. Okay, so that is the second thing. Third thing, you see, distinguish between the accessible resources and non-renewable resources can be said as renewable and non-renewable. So renewable means it is the reproduction which happens through physical, chemical and the mechanical process, where it involves the example of solar energy, wind energy and water energy. Non-renewable resources, the accessibility takes place million years. So it has been uh, trying to regain, even if it try to regain, it takes millions of years. Here you can find renewable resources can be further classified into the flowchart like biological terms. Here you can find minerals and fossil fuel are only the examples of the non-renewable resources. And here some of the resources like metals can be recycled and fossil fuel cannot be recycled by, but here the recycling process can be done. It is wind and water, so recycling can be obviously done. And the source of availability is also continuous, and the source of availability cannot be regenerated again, so it is an failure one. Then why is it is issue of sustainable development is important? So sustainable development is a development which should meet the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generation. Since this is an since second half of the 20th century, you can find the sustainable development is not practiced in the proper manner, which is being addressed by the scientists. They say that the level of sustainable development is not there. So they issued the sustainable development has emerged for the rapid industrial development. So industrial development has only attained, and the industrial development has regardlessly started exploiting the natural resources. So the country has to concentrate on the development of the nation also, and the sustainable development also. So the growth of the country is likely to be in danger if the limit of resources are completely exhausted. So that circumstance may lead in us to give lot of importance for the sustainability. So this is the another thing. And the last question that you can see is write about Rio de Janeiro. So the place where it took place, objective of it, achievement. So place in June 1992, you can find 100 members participated in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. Is the first Earth Summit which has been held. The objective of this is to have a summit which brings the urgent problem of environmental protection as well as socio-economical development at the global level. Then the achievement here you can find made all the leaders to sign it, and it is about the global climatical changes and biological diversity which is happening. So this Rio de Janeiro conference has given a lot of importance even at the global level. Global forest principles were being developed, and they started adapting the Agenda 21, which is even to the local panchayat it was being implemented. So this is what is about Rio de Janeiro and in the 21st century's development about sustainable development. Okay, so this is what is about today's class, my dear students. Remaining we'll see in the next class. Thank you, my dear students.